Okay, my friend, we have made it to day 4, our final day of mapping. Can you believe it? We have done so much work this week already. We just have a little bit more. We can do it. So let's do a quick recap of what we've done so far. In day 1, you chose your goal for the year. You figured out how to commit 100% to that goal, and you have your action plan for how to stay committed to it. Day 2, you figured out all the obstacles that you imagined could get in your way and problem solved for those. Day 3, yesterday, you stepped into being the person that has already achieved the goal and stepped into being her now, at least a little bit, right? We're gradually working toward becoming that person starting now. And this is where you also figured out the intentional thinking that you're going to need that will carry you through to the end of the year or carry you through to goal achieved if that happens either before the end of the year is over or afterwards. Either way, you're going to reach that goal. Okay, so today's goal is to make as many decisions now as possible about how you are going to reach your goal. We're trying to make all the decisions ahead of time, at least the ones that we can foresee need to be made. So that means creating your goal action plan. You'll split your goal up into quarters, into fourths, so that you can make the chunks of to-dos a little bit easier or it feels more manageable, and then into months from there. So then on your own, you will be coming up with your weekly plans, your daily plans, but together or in this video, we'll get down to what you need to do monthly to reach your quarterly goals and overall to reach your year goal, your 1 year goal. Okay, so this video is where we put all of the work that you've been doing over this week into one cohesive plan. So right now it's a little bit split up. We're going to bring everything together that you've done so far and bring it into one plan where you know exactly what to do. So you don't want to leave this video or you don't want to leave this workshop being like, okay, well, now what? What do I do with this information? So the goal of this particular video, this particular day is to know exactly what to do and when, and you have it all set up on your calendar or your reminders with alerts for each time that you need to remember something and to make sure that it will happen. And then that means that in your off time, in your non-goal work hours, you don't need to think about your goal. You have everything automated, ready to go, ready to remind you when you need to do the work. So doing this work that we're doing today is so important when it comes to achieving your goals. So you may have done this before, I've done this before, it's been a while, but sometimes you will set a goal and you just hope that it happens. You're like, oh, I think I can make it work. And then you just don't necessarily make a plan for it. You're just like, I don't know, maybe just not even thinking about what it's going to take to reach that goal. So, what we're doing now is not that. We're actually going to make the plan and not just hope. And so, kind of like with the law of attraction, same idea. You don't just like make sure that you feel good and assume that you're going to attract all the things to you that you want with the law of attraction as well. Yes, that feeling good part is like a big factor to it, but you still need to do the work to reach it. It's not like a magic magnet. We get the inspired ideas, we take the inspired action like we talked about yesterday. So let me check my notes. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Nope, nope. So get out your action plan for how to commit the things where you were like, I'm not committed 100%, but these are the things I need to do or think or feel to be committed, at least as close to 100% as you can. That's from day one. Get out your notes from day two with your action plan for overcoming the obstacles you can see will come up or possibly could come up. And get your notes from day three. You want to reread them to be able to step back into those feelings of already done energy or having reached the goal already, stepping into future you. So try to get back into those feelings that we generated yesterday by rereading your notes, and then have the plan for the things to do to be future you now, or the things you will need to do over time to be able to step into being her. So you will use all of those notes that you have and build them all together, build onto them to create your goal action plan. Okay, so once you have those set, then we are on to the workshop or the workbook questions. Okay, so the first thing on the workbook for today is just rewriting your goal for this year. So this is to keep it top of mind, to remind yourself what it is. You need to become well acquainted with what your goal is because you need to remember it and stay connected to it all year long so we don't forget, right? So I had a goal last year. I do this same, what we're doing right now, I do this same exact process every year, at least I have for the last few years. And I write down all my things, just like we're doing this week. And somehow, I don't know exactly what happened, but this, at the end of 2023, I went back and read it and I was like, wait a minute, my goal was this certain thing, but this whole time I've been thinking it was this other certain thing. So somehow I accidentally ended up changing my goal in my brain, and I reached the initial goal that I had set, but I didn't reach this other one that I had changed it to. I didn't necessarily want to change it. I just thought it was this other goal. So had I stuck with the actual goal, I would have reached that goal. Um, and since I changed it, didn't reach it, whatever, I'm still working towards it. It doesn't matter if I reached it or not by that time frame. But this is why it's important to write it down, have reminders pop up what it is, put it on your sticky notes, like we've talked about already this whole week. So you're writing it down again just to be very, very familiar with what it is. Okay, now you are going to break your goal down into smaller steps. This makes it more manageable for your brain, and it makes it easier to know that you're making progress throughout the year towards this goal as well. So we're going to break it first down into quarterly goals. And then if you would like to take it further, you can break it down into monthly goals. That's not specifically what we're doing with this workbook, but you're welcome to do it like that too. You can make it work for you however your brain works best. So we're going to break it down by quarters. So quarter one is January through March. Quarter two is April through June. Quarter three is July through September. And then the fourth quarter is October through December. So if your overall goal has a quantity, one of the easiest ways to break it down is just by dividing by 4. So for example, if you had an income goal of, say, for easy math sake, $80,000 for the year, that would be $20,000 for each quarter. That could be the easiest way for you to break it up. Say you had a weight loss goal of 40 pounds, that would be 10 pounds per quarter. We talked a bit about having like setting a rating on a scale of 1 to 10 for if you're trying to reach a certain feeling, like I think I said gratitude in one of the other days. I don't remember which day that was, but so you know where you are on a scale of 1 to 10 now. Like pretend like you're a 4 now and you want to get to an 8 by the end of the year. You could say you are increasing that score, that level that you're at by 1 point, 1 unit per quarter. And then later you'll figure out what that actually means and how you can do that. If your goal is not quantifiable, then what four smaller goals could lead toward that overall goal? So another example, or one example of that is, um, say you want to have your house completely decluttered and organized by the end of the year. You could each quarter have specific rooms that you want to have done at that point. So if you did it monthly and you have 12 rooms in your house, then you would do one room per month, or break it down in whatever way seems like it would make the most sense for you. If you are wanting to start a business, you could have quarter one be something like setting up all of the legal stuff. So, registering with the federal government, the state that you live in, setting up a bank account, that kind of thing. And then quarter two could be getting anything ready that needs to be ready for your first clients or for your first sales. Quarter three could be like if you have a product based business, it could be creating all of the things that you're going to be selling. Like if you're selling things on Etsy, you would create all the things that you would be selling on Etsy. And then quarter four could be all the marketing. So figuring out how to market, what methods of marketing you're going to do, all of that. So that's like an example of breaking down starting a business throughout the year. You might not want to take a whole year. That's fine. Just break it down however it would work for you. Let's see. I think that's the last example I have off the top of my head and on my notes. And for whatever your goal is, just decide how to break it down, what makes the most sense right now, and write it down on your worksheet. And remember too that if you don't reach your goal within the first quarter, like your first quarter goal, that's okay. You can always adjust later on. Or if you know that your summer is just going to be completely busy or not going to have a whole lot of time to be focused on your goal, then don't put as much down for quarter three, which I think is July through September or something like that. Or if you know that you are going to likely lose more weight in the beginning and then it gets harder the more weight you lose, because those last pounds can be harder, then you can have your weight loss numbers be higher toward the beginning of the year and then have them be lower toward the end of the year. Obviously, you want to do it safely, not lose too much at one time, but you don't want to get to the point where you break down your goal into those quarters or months and you're like, whoa, there's no possible way that I can reach my goal. Even when I break it down like this, like say when you break down your income goal, it turns out that you need like 300 clients within any given quarter or any given month. If that is like just impossible for you, then rework your goal or rework some part of it somehow to make those numbers make more sense. Okay, so you wrote down your goals on your worksheet, and that brings us to I'm switching the order right now of these questions. I moved this next question up. It was at the end, I think, or toward the end. So the next one we're gonna work on is what specific days each week or each month or however you're wanting to work out your plan, and what specific hours will you have to devote to working on your goal. So this is where you're setting the time, you're putting it on your calendar, you are committing to those times as long as nothing crazy comes up and gets in your way. You do want to make sure that the times you set, the length of time, the amount of time you have is realistic for you and your lifestyle and your personality, the hours that you're working. Make sure that it's not some crazy time where you never will want to work on it. So make it realistic so that you know that you'll be able to stick with it all year, aside from if the obstacles come up, then, you'll rework it from there. Let me see if I missed anything for this. Oh yeah, you can decide to change the hours for different seasons. If summer's crazy, you just adjust your hours to work with that. But make sure that you do write down those kind of specifics so that you remember. And like I said, block it off on your calendar as if you would for a doctor appointment or hanging out with a friend. A commitment that you would make to other people, keep that same commitment to yourself. And I think I'll be talking about that a bit more today too. So anyway, on your calendar, set reminders to make sure you remember that it's coming up, or calendar alerts, put it in your journal, or I can't think of what that book is called, but you probably know what I mean, on your calendar. And we're committing to it. Okay, so on to the next questions, which are actually about creating your plan. Now that you know when you can work on it and the amount of time you have to give to your plan, now it's time to make the plan. So remember, for each of these questions, to go back and look at your commitment plans, your obstacle plans, your future you ideas to help you answer these questions. You already did a lot of this work over the past few days. So now you're going to just bring that work all together and then possibly add in a couple other things too. So remember to, I've mentioned a little bit about this, but I feel like it's worth mentioning again. When you're thinking about becoming this future self, be sure to consider how to gradually step into those future you changes. So you don't want to completely change all your habits and decide you have this really intricate um, morning routine where you get up really early and then you work out and then you eat really healthily and you journal for an hour and then you read a book, and as if we all have that much time in the morning, but you know what I mean, where it's just this crazy change where you might be excited about it for a little bit of time, but you'll end up overwhelming yourself to where you're just going to revert back to how things are now. So decide how to make it gradual. Like, for example, you can start with one new habit each month, or whatever time frame feels best to you, where you can integrate that habit or that new thing, that new action or thought or feeling that you're trying to aim toward. You can integrate that into who you are, let it become just who you are now before adding in the next thing. So that could be one new thing a month, or however long you feel like it takes for that to become just normal for you before adding in the next thing. So let it be gradual. What ways can you incrementally work up towards your goal plan or towards your future self? With all of my goals that I have, I spend a significant amount of time. Sometimes it's weeks, sometimes it's a couple months. I spend a lot of time just picturing myself doing the things that I need to do. Like with my walking plan that I have, I just pictured myself getting up, putting on the clothes, getting my daughter and I out the door, and then driving to where I was going to walk, and then getting out of the car. I just pictured myself doing it regularly, to where once I actually started doing it, it already felt like I had been doing it for a while. It was easy. It was already just in my routine, even though I wasn't actually doing it. It felt like my routine because I thought about it. So how can you incrementally work up to it? How can you imagine yourself doing it for a bit of time before you actually start? That really helps me. And then you can start adding in each new thing until, add one thing in until it feels like a habit before you add in the next. Okay. Also, with these plans that you'll be making, make sure that you make it for you, the way that works best for you, for your personality, for your lifestyle. Um, if you hate going to the gym, don't plan to go to the gym. If you hate waking up early, don't plan on getting up at 5 a.m. every single day. If you need to market your business, don't, and you hate the idea of like in person networking, don't plan on doing that. You don't have to fit into somebody else's mold of like the right way of doing things. There are a million ways to reach goals. You just need to figure out what's going to work for you and how you want to go about doing it. You want it to feel, for the most part, good, not like you constantly are just forcing yourself to do the work. So make sure it just makes sense for you, for the amount of time you have, the amount of energy you currently have to put towards it, and then figure out how to do it within that structure. Like all of this stuff that I'm telling you, it's it's movable, it's fixable, like for different personalities, for different lifestyles. So just figure out for now what feels like the right thing. And then as you go on, you'll figure out what works best for you. And as much as I really would love to completely personalize all of the information that I'm giving you and give a million examples of different goal plans for the different goals, there's just not enough time. This is not like the right kind of space to do that. So if you do end up wanting any of my help with this, like if you need help figuring out how to break down a goal, if your goal is reasonable, well, all of the work, I guess, that we've done this whole entire week, then this is like all of this stuff that I coach my clients on. I am available to you for free coaching if you are watching this in the first week of the year 2024. And I'm available until Pacific time, 2 p.m. on Saturday, January 6th. So please reach out for coaching, whether on the Voxer app or email or social media. Reach out to me in any way. I would really love to go through all of this for you if you do want more personalized help with it. And then if it's beyond that and you know you want to work together for a longer length of time, or you might want to, or if it's after January 6th, then we can definitely set up a consultation call to see if that would be the right next step for you, because you don't need to be stuck in, this is confusing to me. I know what my way is. I don't know how to reach the goal. I don't know how to get myself to take the action steps. I don't know how to break it down and create the plan. These are all the things that I walk my clients through in coaching. So if you do end up wanting that kind of help, feel free to book a consultation call. You will get a link in email or on the Facebook, in the Facebook group, but there's also one at the end of the workbook if you would like to check that out. Okay, so I really wish I could personalize it, but I'm just going to do my best to involve as much info as I can without this being ridiculously long. So create your action plan around an average day, not the best case scenario day where you just feel amazing and you're productive and you have ideas and you just are getting so much done throughout the day, and not on the worst day where you can't get yourself to do anything at all. Have it be like an average day where you might feel a little bit tired. It's not the worst you've ever felt. It's not the best you've ever felt, because it's on average, most days will probably be like that. So put yourself in the frame of mind of that kind of day while doing the work that we're doing today, knowing that some days will be way better and some days will be way worse. But ultimately, it should even out or average out throughout the year into what's going to work for you, on the most regular basis. So don't set yourself up for failure right from the get go by making some crazy plan that you're not going to be able to stick to. Allow flexibility in your plan. Know that you're probably going to change it as the year goes along. Don't be like concrete 100% stuck in this plan that you have right now, because you will learn along the way. You'll figure out what to adjust and then let yourself adjust. So for me, the flexibility in this walking plan that I have is, my plan is like to walk four days a week. Mostly I want to do it Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. If I end not wanting to do it on a Monday, then I know that I have to go on Wednesday, and I have the room in my schedule to make that work. Like I can do that. That's the flexibility. If I happen to go for a hike or on a walk with friends or by myself on the weekend, that means that I only have to do 3 walks during the week. I often will still do my 4 walks. Sometimes I go 5 days a week. But in any case, sometimes it happens to be 3 times a week, maybe 2. Sometimes it happens to be every day that week. Same thing though, it averages out over the year to end up being fairly close to 4 times a week, but there's flexibility where if I have a bad day, a really bad day, I just don't go. That's okay. Okay, last thing before we get to the next question. Well, 2 things. You want to make the plan that you're making now, but then allow for some magic to happen as well with your goal happening in a way that you never imagined it would happen. Like having an income goal, or like if yeah, an income goal. You have an idea of, I need to sell this number of things or sign this number of clients to reach this income goal. But what if that money came to you in some other form other than those particular sales? Would you be like, ugh, I don't want this money? Or would you be like, that's amazing. I am a lot closer to my goal, or I reached my goal, even though it didn't come to me in this way that I imagined. I would guess that you would be more like what I just said, rather than pushing away the money, wishing you hadn't gotten it, right? So things can come to us that we want in a different form than we imagined it would look. And being open to that, being open to not only receiving that, but also seeing that that is us still getting what we want. Just being open to that will allow more of that to flow. That is also law of attraction. Sometimes it comes in some totally different form than we ever thought it would. So being flexible in what it looks like is ultimately going to help you realize that you actually achieved your goal. Okay, last thing. When it comes to everything that you're wanting to do for reaching your goal, consider what you might need to cut out of your life, either temporarily or permanently, to make the changes that you're making. So if you have health goals and there's something very unhealthy that you know you need to cut out of your life, how can you also work that into your plan to figure out how to cut that out? Or you know there are people in your life that just bring you down in some way. They make you feel incapable of getting what you want. They make you feel so badly that it drains you. You're exhausted. You don't have time to give to your goal, not time, but energy, or both. Then how can you either just not have them in your life if that's what needs to happen, or how can you limit the exposure you have to them so that you are able to give all of your focus and attention during your goal hours to your goal? What would you need to cut out in order to make the time, make the energy, make the space for your goal plan? Okay, so that brings us to the next question. So, what steps will you need to take each month in order to reach those quarterly goals that you set up? So, be sure to consider the different seasons and how your energy or your time is affected. For example, summertime, vacations, holidays, seasonal affective disorder. Some people get depressed in the darker, colder winter months, but I also have had one client that I can think of who gets depressed during the summertime. So consider what your regular rhythms are like that, how your energy rhythms are. You know, back to school time could be a little hectic. So plan those into your monthly goals as well. Remember your plans for obstacles and that kind of stuff when writing this out. And then write that out, finish that, pause this if you need to. What will you need to do on a weekly basis in order to execute your monthly plans? So, if it would feel better to you to wait each week to make these plans, you're welcome to do that too. You could break it down now, or you could set a reminder at the beginning of each week to make your weekly plan. That's fine. But if you want to do the work now, what does future you do weekly, and how can you gradually make that happen? So, just like we talked about, making gradual changes to work up to what future you will end up doing every week by the end of the year. And consider too your menstrual cycle and how your energy might fluctuate or wax and wane depending on where you are in your cycle. I know for me, I can rely on one good day a month where I feel like I'm on fire. I'm so productive. I have so many ideas. I get so much done one day. And so I make sure that there's flexibility in my weekly schedule for if that day happens to come up on any given day, then I can have at least a little bit of time to work toward my goals with that awesome energy. And I know, there's other times during the month where I'm going to be just exhausted and lifeless and want to eat all the food. So I make sure to take that into account too when making my weekly plans or my monthly plans, either one. Okay, last question for this part. What will you need to do on a daily basis in order to execute your monthly plans? So you want to make this so simple that you can even do it on the really hard days. There will be some hard days where you just might not do anything at all. But what we want to do is limit that to just a few days over the year, and making this plan so simple that you can even do it on some of those hard days is what's going to make sure that you are still making progress toward your goal even when it's rough. And remember that depending on your goal, you don't have to actually work on your goal every single day. Earlier, you already picked out the days and times that you're going to work on it. So make this daily plan for those days and times that you picked. That means you don't have to necessarily do it every single day. So this is where I like to get really, really specific for my walking. I feel like the walking plan that I have is the most recent and the easiest to share, the easiest example. So I'll share with that how I get specific. So I go 4 times a week, and I leave my leggings and my t-shirt and my bra and my sweatshirt and my socks. I leave all of those on the end of my bed so that when I wake up in the morning, even before I get out of bed, I'm already putting those clothes on, because I know if I just get up, I'm going to be like, I don't want to go get dressed to walk out the door. I know myself well enough where I need to make it that specific and that simple to execute in the morning. So I leave those on the end of the bed. I know I'm going to shower later on, so I don't worry about how I look. I just put my hair up if I need to, put the clothes on, I'm ready to go. And then I leave a raincoat and hat and gloves and a winter coat in my car, and sometimes rain boots. Those are just by my car, next to my car in my garage. I leave those in my car so that I don't have the excuse of it's too rainy to go. I'll tell you a little caveat to that in it. So I can still walk even when it's really cold, even when it's raining. I have my umbrella if I want it. Usually it's too windy to use it. It rains a lot where I am, so I'm prepared for that. I grab my phone, my AirPods. I take my daughter to school. On my way back, I park where I'm going to walk, and it's the same place every time, just to be consistent and make it simple. I walk to the end of the road. I do my stretches standing up. I walk back, and my walk is done. From there, I go home, I shower, I get ready for work, I eat breakfast, and then I start working. So, do you see how specific that is? Like, I walked myself all the way through waking up, doing the goal, coming back, and doing the action plan. I mean, coming back and then getting back into my normal day. On the days where it is too cold or when it's raining sideways and there's no way I want to go, then I walk in my house. I get on my treadmill where I keep the tennis shoes on the treadmill ready to go, and I just start walking immediately before I can talk myself out of doing that goal because I'm really good at talking myself out of things. So I'm making it so specific and so easy to do that I just can't talk myself out of it. So, how can you make your plan in that very same type of way where you're walking yourself from beginning to end, making it really, really simple, having everything set up and out and ready to go so you can't be like, oh, I don't feel like doing the preparation to start working on my goal. Okay, so at this point, you should have your plan ready to go. If you don't, go ahead and pause and finish up the parts that you need to finish up. And now you can set yourself a reminder, whether this is on your reminders app on your phone, on your calendar, in your planner. That was the book thing I was trying to think of earlier, a planner. Wherever it is where you will be reminded, you will remember for the first of every single month to come back and review the plan that you made for that month. You may need to adjust the plans that you had made based on how the previous month went. That's fine. Make your adjustments. And then when each reminder goes off, create your weekly plan for the upcoming month. So you're going to decide every single week in this month, this is what I need to get done in these weeks to reach that monthly goal plan. And then each Sunday or each Monday or the Friday before, whatever works best for your schedule, whatever you scheduled in earlier when you decided the times to work on this. You're going to figure out what to do each week, or sorry, each day that you have available to work on your goal plan. You're going to figure out exactly what to do on those days. You can even set little blocks of time, like from 2 to 3, I'm going to do this and this and this, and 3 to 4, I'm going to do this and this and this. So you're sure to fit in all the things that you need to fit in on those specific days. So each week you break down your monthly or your daily plans to know exactly what to do and when. And remember to commit to the schedule that you make as if it's a doctor's appointment, as if it's a hangout time that you scheduled with a friend that you love hanging out with. If committing to your plans that you make is something that you know you need to work on, then work on it. Don't let yourself off the hook with this, at least not very often. This is a skill that you can build. This committing and this following through is a skill that you can build. And I know that because I have done this. I was always the person who was like, I don't feel like doing it today. I'll figure out another time to do it. And then I just never made very much progress. And now that I've practiced this for several years in a row, I know almost for a fact, almost 100%, that if I put something on my calendar to get done, it will get done. Sometimes it takes slightly longer than I think it will, but most of the time I've gotten pretty good at knowing how I work to commit to what I say I'm going to. It just makes me feel that much better about myself, knowing that I'm going to follow through with the ideas that I have and what I commit to. Show up for yourself. Show up for yourself like you would hope anybody else would show up for you, or like you would for a friend. So we have reached the end of our workshop, the end of day 4, the end of the entire workshop. We've done an extremely deep dive into everything that it takes to achieve your goals. So now I want you to think about, what now? It's so easy to be all fired up and excited about this in the first week of January. And in doing this work, it's exciting, right? It's fresh, it's new. But how can you carry that feeling forward through the finish line? How can you carry that forward through reaching your goal, even if you don't reach your goal in the time frame that you thought that you would, even if it takes longer to reach your goal? It's easy to do all this work that we've been doing when you're excited, and then it's also easy to just drop it when the work gets hard. But what you do in those hard times and the tired times, the busy and overwhelming times, what you do in that time is what determines your future. If you don't actually carry out the plans that you have with discipline and determination, all the feelings that we've talked about throughout this whole week, nothing's going to happen, right? Things are just going to stay the same. You'll have further evidence of I don't follow through with my plan, or I don't do what I say I'm going to do, or I don't have enough willpower, right? So prove to yourself that that's not true by doing the work. You don't have to feel great in order to do the work. You don't have to feel like doing the work in order to do it. All you need to do is commit to it, show up until the goal is reached, and remember that you already made all of the decisions. There are no new decisions that need to be made except when there are little adjustments along the way, right? Like with my walking, sometimes I'll be driving back from my daughter's school after dropping her off, and I'll be like, should I go for my walk today? I don't really feel like it. And then I remind myself, this is not something that needs to be redecided. I already decided a long time ago that this is what I'm doing. There's no decision to make right now. All you have to do is go park and get out of your car. And so that has made it a million times easier knowing that the decision is made. There's no back and forth that I need to go right there. So you have goals to reach. You are now the person, because you decide that you are now the person who does the work to reach your goals. That is you. This is just who you are. Remember that. And good luck and have fun. And please reach out and tell me how all of this went for you, and share your ahas, your insights with me. Share your wins, share the places where you're confused. I can help you. In any case, reach out to me. Let me know how it goes for you. I wish you all the luck and the love in the world for this whole year and beyond that. And I hope that we can continue talking with each other. I love you, friends. Bye. Good luck.